Hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news that's currently updated in the press. This is regarding now David De Gea, the Manchester United goalkeeper. Reportedly, according according to what the media says in a couple of media outlets, reportedly David De Gea is linked to move to Juventus. Reportedly, Juventus have been monitoring an interest in David De Gea. The player is coming to an end of his current deal. Reportedly, he has not signed his contract extension yet at Manchester United. And reportedly, currently George Mendes, who represents David De Gea, has been in potential discussions with Juventus about potentially Juventus making a move for De Gea next summer. So reportedly, it's confirmed that George Mendes, De Gea's agent, has been in discussions with Juventus of Juventus making a potential move for David De Gea next summer. Mourinho said he wasn't too convinced quite a few weeks ago him signing this new deal. Since he's been in the Premier League, David De Gea, he has made 249 appearances in the Premier League. He has kept 94 clean sheets, and he's potentially the best goalkeeper in the world, as I said. And potentially he has yet to sign this new deal extension. But reportedly, his representative been in discussions about securing this new deal. Man United have been in talks about it, and David De Gea had currently turned this down. He's won Player of the Year uh, for, in the last 4 out of 5 years with Manchester United as well. So reportedly, Juventus have spent a lot of money. We know they're interested in quite a few players they've got on the radar, so they know they've got De Gea now they're interested in. They've showed an interest in Martial, and they've also been interested in Marcus Rashford as well, and they have got a lot of class players in their squad. They've got Dybala, they've got Dybala, they've got Ronaldo, of course, who they paid €100 million for. They've got they've got Kadira, they've got Mandzukic. You know, they've got a world class side, Juventus, but they're still looking to add more ranks into their squad. They are the best team in Italy, as we all know. Historically fantastic, just like we are in England, basically. But David De Gea admitted, he wants to be up there, competing and be up there winning silverware. I think he's noticing the lack of development in the Manchester United side. Accordingly, as I mentioned about Real Madrid, reportedly now Real Madrid, who are well known for buying Premier League players that are in the Premier League anywhere, they've bought around 23 since 2000. They've bought quite a few players off Manchester United over the years, as well as Real Madrid. Reportedly, they've got a new manager in now, I think. I can't remember his name. They had a manager before that had recently been sacked this season due to their, poor start to the season. Obviously they had Zinedine Zidane before that, won honours with them, and he was, he managed Real Madrid for quite a few years. Zidane, as well, and currently obviously Real Madrid are the holders of the Champions League. They've won the La Liga about 33 times all in all of Real Madrid. Reportedly though, they got Courtois, Real Madrid, obviously during the summer. But reportedly, they are not happy so far with him this season, according to the press at Real Madrid. So reportedly, it's just said in the FOTMob app, one of my apps, it says reportedly Real Madrid could re-show their interest in David De Gea, because we know Real Madrid have been they admire the player. We know David De Gea is from Spain, his family's in Spain, and that his girlfriend's in Spain. Because obviously he's risen up the ranks of Atletico Madrid. He's been in the Premier League now for about a good 8 years now as David De Gea. And potentially it says in the media there could be show their interest in David De Gea, because obviously reportedly they're not satisfied with Courtois. We know Real Madrid have been linked to him for quite a few years now. As I said, a deal nearly went through, was it quite a few years ago, but the deal, they never got that deal through for David De Gea, as we all know, but we know they've been heavily linked to him for a long time. And reportedly now it says that they could re-show their interest in David De Gea as well. And potentially, for me, it will be a big loss if we lose him, because he's potentially the best goalkeeper in the world. He's been very beneficial for us. We've had good fantastic goalkeepers over the years, as I said, but potentially, if he goes, Man United at Iron Jordan Pickford as a replacement. As I said, he's good during the World Cup. He's been at Everton since 2017 as the player. the goalkeeper. He's been at Everton since 2017, and he's been at Everton since 2017, and his points in the World Cup were good. But since he's been at Everton, he's won Everton Players Player of the Season, Everton Player of the Season, and Everton Young Player of the Season, as well as Jordan Pickford, as I said. And he has been at quite a few other teams, obviously, before he came to Everton. He says Everton could demand that they want around £60 million if De Gea leaves, and Manchester going for him. This was in the Sun. It was in a couple of media outlets the other day about this report that were going on. Potentially, we have got Lee Grant as a second choice keeper because Mourinho only got 3 players during the course of the summer. He obviously wants to address the problems. He wants to strengthen up defensively. He's looking to sanction defence out. Reportedly, he's going to get tens of £millions to spend in January. Reportedly, he's been in discussions about January with Ed Woodward about the January transfer window as well. Do you think Jose Mourinho is trustworthy with this money? Not too sure, to be quite honest with you, because you know, based on the history of this club, based on Jose Mourinho's history as well, because he's got a fantastic pedigree and he's proven in the Premier League that we should be in much more of a commanding position than we're currently in at the moment, because there's nearly just under £400 million being spent since Mourinho's come in. Like over £1 billion we spent under Moyes, Van Gaal and now Mourinho. It's like £1 billion, so we have spent a lot of money, since Fergie departed the club in 2013. As we all currently know. So we could, he's looking to get a strong central defender, and he's looking to get a backup option for Romelu Lukaku up front as well. He's Jose Mourinho, and we've been heavily linked with quite a lot of players. As I said, he could get rid of Bailey because Bailey isn't getting enough he isn't getting the starting 11 at the moment. Reportedly, there's been teams monitoring and interested in him. There's been says Arsenal have been interested in him. Says Tottenham have been interested in him. That would be a suitable replacement for Tottenham if Toby Alderweireld was to leave in January. I think AC Milan have been interested in him as well. There's been a few teams monitoring interest in Bailey. We've got Rojo as well, who hasn't been the same player since he suffered that injury against Anderlecht, was it a year or so ago. He's looking at sanctioning him off as well. Darmian, he's coming to an end of his deal at Old Trafford, but reportedly Mourinho wants to keep Matteo Darmian at the club at least till the end of the season, but there's a few Italian clubs interested in him. And I think from Darmian's perspective, he does want to leave because he can't get into the team anywhere this season. We know Luke Shaw's obviously been playing there, as we are all aware of as well. Not as much last season because obviously, we know he had disputes with Jose Mourinho, did Luke Shaw. But as I updated you earlier on, when I was playing my FIFA Ultimate Team about the news about Jose Mourinho, he slated 4 of the young players down at Manchester United during his Spanish interview. He'd been confirmed he had an interview, as I said, with a former Barcelona player. The players he was criticising was Luke Shaw. He spoke about Luke Shaw. He also spoke about Lingard. He spoke about Martial, and he spoke about Rashford. And basically, Mourinho had basically criticised all 4 of the players. We know there's some players unhappy here, not satisfied with Jose Mourinho because they don't like his managerial style or his style of play. But reportedly, he said Mourinho had basically said in the press that in the interview he'd mentioned like lack of character, lack of personality, lack of maturity as well. And this is what reportedly Mourinho meant. I think, in other words, what Mourinho, and he says young players, I think what he means is Mourinho, when he says about character and stuff, I think he means like young players these days lack character. I think that's what Mourinho meant in like other words. It was also going back in the interview a couple of years ago when he first got appointed Manchester United. He explained that Luke Shaw wasn't competitive until he became Manchester United manager. And he said that regarding Rashford, Lingard and Martial, he said the similar sort of thing. But in terms of potential, he did mention potential as well. They have all got great potential. And he mentioned them about being spoiled kids as well, did Jose Mourinho. So this is what he mentioned in the Spanish interview that he currently had. I think this was done, was it back in October sometime? This was done, would it a couple of months ago or something like that? Reportedly, it just come out in the press today. It it come out in the press today. I don't know why it came out from quite a few months ago, but reportedly it was spoken in Spanish during the interview, and it has reportedly something is translated in English now, or what basically Mourinho said. Reportedly said the like courgeous or something like that. I think that's Spanish. I think that means balls, is it in English, or something like that. But this is what Mourinho said regarding Luke Shaw and Martial and Rashford and Lingard during the interview with the former Barcelona player. And it's not the first time he's criticised players. We know Manchester United fans have obviously been criticising Jose Mourinho, obviously. And for me, you know, we haven't got hard games in Christmas. Not that many. You know, I think we've got Arsenal coming up soon, which is going to be a very, very interesting game. But I think, you know, we've got to win all our games. Mourinho said he wants a top four by January. As I said, we've basically got to win every game now until Christmas. You know, we can't drop any more points, you know, if we want our hopes of getting that top four. For me, do I think, you know, this is Jose Mourinho's third season at the club. Do I think top four is good enough at the end of the season? No, I presume, no, considering the amount of money we've spent, considering the history of this club, the success we've had, and considering Jose Mourinho's history, top four's no, not good enough. But I think it says the board have suggested out Jose Mourinho. He suggested out we have to get top four this season and get Champions League for next season, or Jose Mourinho presumably will be sacked from Manchester United. I don't think 4th or 3rd is good enough. But the way we're going at the moment, I don't think we even are. We're going to finish 3rd. We may get 4th. I think we're still presumably good enough to get 4th because we have got the squad. That squad potentially is good enough, you know, to get into the top 4. Potentially, we've just got to see who, like, you know, how it goes from now till Christmas. We haven't got that run. We haven't got that many hard games. I think we've got Crystal Palace coming up. We've got Young Boys. That's going to be, that's going to qualify to the knockouts of February. And then it's Southampton. And then I think it's Arsenal. And, I think in the mix we've got, I can't remember all fixtures, but reportedly we haven't got that many difficult fixtures up until Christmas. So basically we have to win all of them, as we're all aware of. We've basically got to win all them games, potentially, for our hopes of a top 4, as I said. But Louis Saha, the ex-former Man United player, has had to say on the situation with Jose Mourinho. He said he's backing him, is Louis Saha. He's backing him, saying considering his pedigree and his fantastic history, he believes he can turn it around Manchester United. He believes he can turn it around at Manchester United because obviously this is still a massive club, fantastic fan base, and it's great for facilities to experience. And potentially he's also had to say on Martial as well as Louis Saha. He's basically said Martial is a great platform and he will help Manchester United win silverware. And we've got so much silverware in our trophy cabinet, obviously, under Alex Ferguson. That we've only won 3 trophies, obviously, since Jose Mourinho hasn't been appointed manager. As I said, the expectations of the board by now would have suggested that Manchester United should have at least another Premier League title under Jose Mourinho, because I was saying before we got Mourinho, and then obviously when Mourinho got appointed manager, I said, can he potentially be as good as manager as Pep Guardiola? Could he potentially be as good as manager as Jurgen Klopp? I thought he would have delivered the goods at Old Trafford, considering the fantastic history he's got. But now I'm saying, does Mourinho fit the strappings of this club? Is Mourinho the man for this club? Of what I've seen lately, this is now his 3rd season, what I've seen the past 2 years, I'd say no. Definitely this season, I'd definitely say he isn't the right man for this club based on so far this season, even though he was in a good running form after Newcastle, when obviously the board before Newcastle was on Jose Mourinho, saying regardless of the result, he was going to be sacked, Jose Mourinho. We know Jose Mourinho is arrogant as well. And that's what we've got to accept. And potentially, for me, I still think he will be here. He will be here. I still think he presumably will be here at the end of the season, because I think presumably we will get top 4. I think we are good enough to get top 4, and that's his target, and that's the expectation level at this moment. And the way we're progressing, Jose Mourinho has to at least get top 4 and get us Champions League for next season, Champions League for next season, get top 4 this season. If we don't, Jose Mourinho will be, I think, you presumably be sacked from Manchester United. We got Champions League last season, we finished second. We finished 19-20 points behind Man City, as we all know. We know Manchester United have actively as well looking for the director of football or the technical director to help assist Mourinho, as I keep saying, and Ed Woodward in the January window. Reportedly, as we all know, Mourinho's got a lot of potential targets on his agenda. But Martial, I hope Martial stays at the club. As I said, with the current recent contract talks have not been very good. He currently turned down the previous one. We know during the course of last summer, Tottenham were interested in him, but reportedly, Man United have been in discussions of trying to secure him a new deal. Manchester United reportedly, the contract talks are not succeeding at this moment in time with Martial. He's been in very good form, as we all know this season. He's ahead of Rashford this season. He's got a year on Rashford, but I think they're both young, they're both comparable. And potentially it's mentioned Juventus have been interested in Marcus Rashford. It also said Chelsea have also been interested in Marcus Rashford. Not Marcus Rashford, I mean Anthony Martial. So it says Chelsea being interested in Martial. It says Juventus have been interested in Martial. Good news is, obviously, he had to withdraw from the France squad due to injury. But reportedly, he's going to be fit enough for the Crystal Palace game tomorrow, and so too I think Lukaku is going to be fit enough for tomorrow as well. He hasn't been in great form this season, let's be honest, compared to last season. Lukaku, I think he's good. He can score goals when he's really on form, but I think he hasn't got much tempo to his play. I think his first touch isn't that good. He was very good at Everton because he's Everton's all-top goal scorer with 68 goals. Mourinho has a good relationship with Romelu Lukaku. Also to confirm, as I said, Paul Pogba, he had to withdraw from the France squad as well. Obviously missed the Manchester City game, as I said, and you can tell the difference in that midfield without Paul Pogba. Reportedly he's going to be fit enough for tomorrow as well, which is good to see. And we could see quite a few of our star players go, whether it be January or next summer. We've heard reports of Martial. He hasn't signed this new deal yet. You've been hearing the rumours about Marcus Rashford going round, fluttering around the press. But reportedly, as I said, Paul Pogba, he come out quite a few days ago and said he could potentially make a return back to Turin. He's told his the Juventus players that he wants to basically depart Old Trafford, does Paul Pogba, because I don't think he's really proven himself in English football. He had 4 or 5 good years with Juventus, won honours, made 179 appearances for Juventus. Obviously, he left in 2012 because he wasn't getting first team action under Fergie. And we paid £89 million for him back in 2016, and we know he's had disputes with Jose Mourinho as Paul Pogba. According to Riley, he confirmed that they've currently sorted it out now, their current relationship. So potentially there's been rumours about him potentially going back to Juventus as well, Paul Pogba. And as I've been updating you on the current Marcus Rashford news of what's been going on in the press for quite a few days now about Marcus Rashford, potentially reportedly it says about Marcus Rashford that he's heavily linked with a move to Real Madrid. It says basically if he fails to get first team football, Marcus Rashford, he will consider making a move to Real Madrid. I think there has been discussions between Rashford and Real Madrid. But he's a Manchester United player, and I hope we do keep him. His current contract ends in 2020 with Manchester United. Does Marcus Rashford. Potentially, I hope the player does stay, because he's still only young. He still needs to grow and develop, just basically like Anthony Martial does, as we all know, because he's got great experience of being in France as well as Anthony Martial. Wait there, I just dropped something. But yeah, Rashford is a player that, he wants first team football, for Manchester United. He's been Manchester United player since the age of 7. I said they've got a track record of signing Premier League players of Real Madrid, and they've signed quite a few off Manchester United over the years, as I said. And potentially Marcus Rashford being Manchester United player since the age of 7. Man United are looking to double his, currently expand and double his wages, to try and keep him at Manchester United. Of course, he hasn't been to his potential best this season, Marcus Rashford, as we all know, Martial's ahead of him. But the last 2 seasons, he's made more United appearances than any other United player. Don't forget Marcus Rashford. He's risen up the ranks fantastically well, and he's got a fantastic pedigree of scoring on his debut as well as the players. He's made 80 odd appearances in the Premier League, in the Premier League, and scored 19 goals as Marcus Rashford. His pace is good. He's a good aerial threat. He's a good skillful player. I think his finishing still slightly needs to improve, don't get me wrong, but apart from that, I think he's a very, very good player that will grow and develop and will get better because he's still in his prime years, basically like Anthony Martial, as I said. So I definitely want them to stay, and I hope Real Madrid don't potentially get that Marcus Rashford. I hope they don't get David De Gea. They always seem to be chasing our players, the Real Madrid, and that's what we always get the impression of. They always seem to be chasing Manchester United players. Potentially though, Mourinho, he hasn't got the right philosophy at Manchester United. He had the correct philosophy in the other teams, what he's been at, because he obviously, won titles with them, but obviously he hasn't emulated the football he's done in the past. He hasn't emulated football he did in the past to Manchester United, and that is a shame to see. He hasn't got the right philosophy compared to Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool and Pep Guardiola. And Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. As I said, Pep Guardiola's got a fantastic pedigree. He's emulated the football he did at Barca and Bayern Munich, and he's done it to Manchester City, and he's broken records, won round about 24 trophies in his career. As I said, Pep Guardiola. He's just a phenomenal manager. Mourinho, he's getting older now. He was a phenomenal manager with Chelsea and the other teams he's been at. But he just hasn't at Manchester United. As I said, it doesn't always mean because you've got a good pedigree, you are going to succeed. At the other team you go to. And Jurgen addressed the problems at Liverpool. He did really, really well with Borussia Dortmund. As I said, he's spent quite a bit of money and he's, got Liverpool playing good attacking football. Spent quite a bit of money and he's, got Liverpool playing good attacking football. Defensively, Liverpool look very, very good as well. Indeed. Indeed, so Mourinho does have to basically turn it around Manchester United, as I said. So I think the board are backing him at this moment in time. But yeah, he has criticised 4 young players in the Manchester United squad. It confirmed the interview he had. He was mentioning maturity, character and personality as well. And he said Luke Shaw, Martial, Rashford and Lingard lack all of them. But he said they have great potential. But as I said, in other words, he was trying to say young players these days lack character. And this is what Mourinho had said in the current interview. It was an interview with a former Barcelona player. He had the interview where I think it was spoken in Spanish as well. Potentially, we could see a few players go. Toby Alderweireld's one of Mourinho's targets. Toby Alderweireld, Tottenham defender. Man United were heavily linked to him during the course of the summer. He's also had disputes with Ed Woodward's Mourinho, obviously, because he was annoyed Mourinho that he couldn't get a strong centre half in back in August. Back in the last summer window. And Toby Alderweireld, risen up the ranks of Ajax, he was very, very good with Ajax, won honours, he was at Atletico Madrid as well, won division title with them. And he's been in Premier League for now for 4 years, so he's been at Southampton in the past. Toby Alderweireld, he can play as centre-back, he can play as a left-back as well. As I said, Tottenham were demanding £60 million during the course of summer, so Man United didn't get him. Reportedly, he's available for around £25 million next summer, that's his release clause. Man United could do a cut price deal for the player in January. So Tottenham would rather cash in more money rather than let him go for 25 million next summer. Tottenham still not much of a key player to them. So do you think it'd complement our defence fantastically well? We know we are at least a few years off winning the Premier League title, as we all know. We're all aware of that. But obviously, Jose Mourinho's been monitoring and interesting Toby Alderweireld. When he's been watching him, he's been very, very satisfied with his progression and his performances at Toby Alderweireld. And reportedly, we could make a move for him in January as well, the player. But I'm a huge... I don't really know much of him, but what I've seen of him, he seems quite a decent player, does Toby Alderweireld. And yeah, and we're also being linked with Diego Godin, the Atletico Madrid centre back. He's aging up. I think he's been in Spain like 11 years now, is it, something like that? He had 3 years with Villarreal. He's been at Atletico Madrid about 8 or 9 years as well now. Diego Gordon, he's coming to the end of his deal. Atletico Madrid want to sign a new deal. Man United were interested in him during the course of the summer as well, but Manchester United never got a deal over the line for him. Reportedly, he has a 20 million release clause, does the player as well. Potentially can play, he's a defender, he's Diego Gordon. But reportedly Manchester United have been linked with him as well, and Man United have been in discussions with Atletico Madrid over this potential transfer. And we know who's been mentioned in the last couple of days in the press as well, as I do keep updating you on that, is about something's just come up on my phone. It's about what's going on here. We're at the bloody weather forecast coming on when I'm popping up when I'm on a video. Sorry about that. It's about Nikola Milkovic. He is a Florentina player. He has been a Florentina since like 2017 as the player. He's been at Belgrade in the past as well. Reportedly, Manchester United have been interested in. Reportedly, he's worth around 50 million. He's worth around 50 million pounds. Is the player. I've never heard of him until his name come on the equation on Sky Sports. I've never really heard of the player. But reportedly, he does have a contract until 2022 or 2023 with Florentina. He is 21 years of age. He is in his prime years. He is tall as well as this player. So reportedly, Manchester United may be prepared to have discussions over potentially making a move for him. He said reportedly Manchester United were interested in him as well. He can play as centre back. He can also play as a left back as well. Can the player? So potentially for me, looks a very, very impressive player. We know we've been hearing what's been going on in the press about the Perisic news that I've already discussed with you. You know about the Anazai and Depay news that's been coming out in the press in the last couple of days. I've already discussed that with you already. So potentially for me, who would you like to come in the club in the January transfer window? I'd love Kante as a midfielder, especially if Paul Pogba was actually to leave, because I love Kante. He's a very, very good box-to-box midfielder. He's done good with Chelsea. I think he mixes in the Chelsea team fantastically well. But he's a good box-to-box midfielder. He's won the Premier League with Chelsea in his first season. He's been at Chelsea quite a few years now. Won the he was under, with Leicester under Claudio Ranieri. He won the Premier League in his first season with Leicester as well. He's won PFA Player of the Year, Football of the Year, as well as Kante. I mean at Cham for a couple of years before that as well. And I do really, really like him. I love Eden Hazard. I think he's a great, great player. Not as potentially as he's not much of a team player. I think he's fast. He's a good goal scorer. His finishing's very, very good. He's got good genuine pace, and his work rate is just absolutely phenomenal. And he is a high prospect. He's Eden Hazard. Mourinho say he potentially like him to come to Old Trafford because Mourinho has a good relationship with him. Mourinho's obviously worked with Eden Hazard in the past, and I think if Martial continues the way he is, I think he will, turn into a player like Eden Hazard. If I am going to be quite honest with you, but I just hope Martial can secure this new deal with Manchester United. At the moment, talks have not succeeded out as I said. So it's essential now. Manchester United win every game now until Christmas, basically, for our chance of that top four. It's important we get the top four at least, because we know we're not in the title race. We're not. I said with a couple of years off the title. We're nowhere near on the same levels as the top teams at the moment. So anyway, what do you think anyway to the David De Gea news? Reportedly, Juventus are interested in George Mendes, who obviously I think represents Jose Mourinho as well, as reportedly being in discussions with Juventus about potentially making a move for David De Gea next summer. So potentially, Man United have been trying to secure him a new deal. Hasn't planned out yet. He's refused. Mourinho says he wasn't too convinced quite a few weeks ago. He was going to sign this extension, David De Gea. So potentially, we'll just have to see what happens about that. So anyway, that's everything today. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. I will be back with more live videos tomorrow sometime. So take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye.